Hello, Natalia Vladimirovna. Hello. Thank you for taking the time in your very busy schedule for this important interview. What is happening on the planet now puts many people in front of a global choice: how to survive. These processes both destroy humanity and create. Because you often say that only spirituality and spiritual development will save this world. Let's talk about this. So what does the future hold for our humanity? What is the future of people like? This will only be my opinion, as I see now the situation on the planet. Yes, there are difficulties a lot, but these difficulties are necessary. They are necessary, at least for each person, to ask themselves questions. Who am I? Where am I going? And what happens to me next? And the circumstances of the modern world perfectly help people in this. Yes, they help. Since a human is internally very predisposed to pleasure. And not all people like to work on themselves, create this world. Most people live their lives to indulge their pleasures. Often this is the case. But the planet endured this for a very long time, for many epochs and centuries. And now, when there is a quantum transition on the planet, the Earth is simply forced to ask each person a question. Who are you? Why are you here on this planet? Where are you next? What will happen to you next? Therefore, everything that happens is a confirmation of this. What will happen in the future? Everyone will have their own future. Someone will be able to survive these difficulties, problems, and will create this world, live on, evolve further, and create constructive processes on the planet, benefit humanity and the whole world. And someone, under certain circumstances, will have to leave this planet forever. The planet has just come at a time when it will release from its earthly territory those people, those souls who are ready to evolve to other planets, to other worlds of a more creative spiritual culture. Natalia Vladimirovna, you as a world-class spiritual mentor teaching large international groups of students, teach people the main thing. All your best qualities are within you. That key to happiness is within you. Man builds his own destiny. Can we say that now, at this planetary time, the fate of each person still directly depends on the fate of the planet, on what is happening on a planetary scale? Yes and no. Yes, of course, everything that is happening on the planet now, diseases, vaccinations, this concerns every person, and every person participates in this. But, be that as it may, no one comes to everyone's home, and yet everyone makes their own choice. And I believe that if a person is constructive, if he is developed, really developed, then absolutely nothing threatens his life. Moreover, now the thought is so embodied in life that you just need to learn how to think correctly, think right, plan right, dream right, feel life correctly, and correspond to all this. You said what you repeat very often: difficulties push a person to development. And you often say that happy people do not come to you, they just become like that in the process of learning and complete transformation of themselves. Can you say that your students are protected people? They have something that, unfortunately, people cannot have who do not even try to understand why they need to develop spiritually. Many people have an illusory understanding of spiritual development, and no matter how much you say in your broadcast that this is not a religion, not a sect, there are still those who in their narrow understanding are afraid of something. This fear constrains a person's understanding, right? I can tell you that I rejoice in all the processes that help my students. And if before I only talk about it, I knew in principle everything about what is happening in life now. I told my students earlier. But those were just words, and now I see how the knowledge, practices, methods, energy, opportunities that they have discovered in themselves, how this new state of theirs helps them now to survive all these difficulties. I would even say so. These difficulties do not concern them. That is, they very easily bypass all these sharp corners. They are stable, they are internally happy. No matter what, they are happy. And you know, I think a lot about how if the whole world knew everything that my students know, how would everyone live well? Whatever viruses, infections, diseases could harm them, it is impossible. It would be impossible. But I also understand something else. These mechanisms are only for those people who are truly capable of consciously seeing life, who is ready to work, who is ready to create this world. And not all people can create this world. Fears do not give them the opportunity, block their consciousness, and do not give them their understanding to think correctly, plan correctly, and feel right. Precisely fear. Many people live in a very depressed state of fear, and fear creates a process of destruction, and especially in this quantum process of a new changing world. Therefore, everything that happens is natural. Well, so you know, from the perspective of your student, I can say that this security is based on a knowledge platform. When you know why it is or why it is different, when you make your choice correctly, you know how it will be if your choice is only creative every second. Natalia Vladimirovna, you also often say that your students are the chosen ones. Knowledge is given to the chosen ones. These are those who are not superior in position to anyone. Here we are talking about the equality of people, but it means that they have chosen their own path of spiritual and personal ascent. This is truly a new race of people that is being born on the planet, born thanks to you, the spiritual mentor. Spiritual development puts many people in other position of illusion. Those who first encounter it, will this not be a limitation? Let's talk about this, Natalia Vladimirovna. Where are the limitations and where are the universal possibilities? I do not know any restrictions here. There are no restrictions. On the contrary. But what about do not drink, do not smoke, do not eat meat? Different people come to you. Well, yes, and why do this if you will quickly die from it? Why do this? If you want to live but drink to your health, how can this be explained? This is the madness of this world. That is, you want to be healthy, you drink what kills you, but at the same time you want to stay healthy. How can you explain this? This can only be explained by the mind of a mad person. This is such massive insanity. There is no other way to put it. And consider this the norm. That is, people consider it normal to drink to the health what will kill you. A lot of people just don't want to think about it. It is not profitable for them. Why? They are looking for pleasure. Why? You see, if they knew everything that our students know, it would be a pleasure to know, to be able, to manage. This is already the pleasure of life. This is pleasure. There are opportunities, no restrictions. You can do everything. The whole world belongs to you. There are no restrictions. But when it is difficult for a person, there is no knowledge, there is no understanding about life, about oneself, about the world, it is very difficult for people. Very serious internal pressure, psycho-emotional destruction, and a person thinks, as many people say, how can I relax if I don't drink? Well, how can I relax? That is, many people simply do not know how to control themselves and their psyche, so they want to drink only to make it easier for them. They understand that they are drinking something from which they will get sick and from which they can quickly die. They understand this, but they have no other methods. If they had the knowledge that our students have, they would not do this. After all, our students do not drink only because no one forbids them, but they do not do it themselves because they understand that if you do it, then you will not be who you are. And if you are not who you are, then you will not have opportunities. Then you cannot claim health, happiness, success, or family well-being. That is, you will have to suffer like everyone. But they don't want to suffer. They came to me in suffering. They come in the suffering and life difficulties. And having already escaped from this, they were ready for anything, just so as not to suffer again. That is how dearly they value what is revealed to them. And this discovery lies within each of them. Everyone does it for himself. Everyone becomes a master of life. And these are not words, this is reality. And everyone has a before period and a now period. These are really two big differences. This is, I would say, a planetary difference, and when you understand what you were and what you are, the way back is your past, to which you definitely do not want to return, having certain knowledge. Let's go back to the quantum transition. This is a very interesting process on the planet. The attention of many people is very thorough to it. Those who are interested in spiritual development, and those who have heard or read about it somewhere and are just getting on this path. The quantum transition is the period of the birth of the new, and this is the period of very strong displacements. Nowadays there are a lot of mentally unbalanced people. Is this the fault of the quantum transition? This is not the fault of the quantum transition, this is the fault of the people themselves, and their fault is that they remained undeveloped. Before this time they should have already had at least a slightly expanded consciousness, because their consciousness is very narrow. Moreover, their consciousness is clogged with programs of fear. And due to the strong waves that enter the planet during the quantum transition, their internal processes are intensified. That is, the quantum transition changed the world, it changes the structure of matter, it changes a human, even his physical organism. And now there is a lot of scientific evidence for this. Indeed, new organs appear inside a human, which will create new processes in the physical life of a human. And what is happening now at the moment is very important, very necessary and needed so that each person can consciously understand himself in this world. And people become like that because they don't really deserve it. They were like that before, yes, they were. It's just that now everyone is manifested as he is. Is it like a mirror? Yes, it's like a mirror, yes. If you have aggressiveness, anger, greed, vanity, arrogance, pride, hatred inside you, this all increases and naturally a person becomes crazy. He cannot withstand these low destructive vibrations. These vibrations destroy him. That is, he dies himself and his psyche from his own internal state. He does it to himself. He thinks so, he feels so, in a wrong way. I am very sorry that everything is so. I often want to say, people, hey, wake up, what are you doing? Why are you like that? After all, you will die from this. I just want to shout and say from all parts of the world, from space, think about what you are doing. Why? Natalia Vladimirovna, as a scientist, tell me, is the cosmos not interested in destruction? Everything is correct there, everything has its own laws, which reproduce everything in clarity. So why has this quantum transition rebuilt everything on the planet? Is destruction going on globally? For some people this destruction is creation. They find themselves, they finally abandoned something and acquired something new. For others it is just death. Yes, this is so, you speak very correctly, and there is no other way. For destructive people this will be death, and they can no longer be on this planet. They cannot clog it with their dirty, destructive energy. Those people who are creative, who are aspiring, who are constructive. Look how many people are now with open psychic abilities. That is, people began to feel a new state inside themselves. They became sensitive. They see the thoughts of other people. Even their communication with each other becomes different. They understand that seeing each other's thoughts They already have to be truthful, at least honest, truthful, internally constructive. After all, everyone knows that you need to be like that. Therefore, a new position in life, a new era, a new state of constructive people is a takeoff. This is a takeoff in all aspects of life, in technical, technological, and internal physiological, and new opportunities, superpowers. I spoke 10 years ago about what will happen now, and now we are already living through it, what I was talking about. And now I want to talk about what will happen in the next 10, 20 years. Mobile phones will not be needed. This will be people with supernormal abilities, and they will not need phones. But there is a very serious danger that there may be few of them. And the cosmos is now trying in every possible way to contribute to stretch this time of the quantum transition, to enable many people to move to a new level of life. The word space in translation means order. There is order, but the cosmos is reflective. It is like a mirror. It reflects what is inside each person, and each in principle decides his own destiny. If you are destructive, you will perish, and now very quickly, and there are many methods for this. If you are constructive, you will continue to live, you will prosper, and everything around you will prosper. Everyone makes his own choice, maybe the last choice. Everyone makes a choice every second. Many turn to you, passing the selection for training with the goal, I want to open extrasensory abilities. People think this is very sweet. This is actually a very interesting stage in life when clairvoyance and intuition begin to activate. I'm talking about myself, about the first stage of extrasensory perception. But I'm talking about something else, how a person does not fall into the trap of the astral plane and to see and feel what is really true information. And many such people come to you who have already tried to take information from there, from the astral, and this destroyed them. Yes, it is. There are a lot of such people. What can I tell you? People think that having psychic abilities is good, if only because you will know everything about everyone. Well, is it easy for you? It's easy for me, but you need to be able to manage these abilities, and you need to love people so much as I love them. Then it will be easy. If this love is absent, these abilities will destroy. They will destroy the person himself. Because what do you have to see? People are imperfect, and often you see their suffering, grief, their sorrow, internal destruction. And if you are the same as what you see, you enter into resonance with these low vibrations, and it will devour you, it will destroy you, it will kill you. This is called the astral plane, and many people, being in just such a low astral state, want these abilities. And you don't have to want that. These superpowers, and so in many people, are revealed due to radiation, which at the moment everyone receives every instant, every second. You are becoming a psychic anyway. Now you need to think not about this, but about how to correspond to high vibrations, to read information from a higher source, and not from the source of the astral plane. This is where the danger lies. And only a spiritually developed person can master this state. What does spiritually evolved person mean? This means an energetically developed person, a person who is a bearer of high vibrations. After all, if you have these high vibrations, you automatically enter into resonance with the high vibration field, from where you receive energy and information, states, understanding. This is development. That is why at the Personality Development Center, of which you are the leader, you prepare students for the disclosure of these abilities step by step. That is, all students have super abilities, but they all open up them individually at a certain time when a person is ready for this, right? Yes, of course, yes. And I want to ask, how was it with you? Well, it was really gradually. Each step of learning is higher. At each stage, you receive higher vibration, new knowledge, and more responsibility for everything that you know. And when you correspond and enter into resonance with pure energy, they are open to you. When a person has these first discoveries of himself, the first thing that a person feels is, wow, can I really see this? Did I really see it, or did I come up with it? And how to understand if I saw it or invented it? Then time passes and the person understands, no, he really saw it, because what he saw came to life. These are the first stages. In fact, my friends, now everyone is becoming psychics. But there is also a certain danger in this. The danger is that, again, humanity is not ready. And the time has come, and the time is running out, and a new unit of life, it is time, is now personally felt by everyone. We started with a question that is important for many people. What is the future? And I also want to end today's interview with a similar question. Is it worth worrying about tomorrow? So many people do not know how to properly concentrate their energy. They live in the past, remembering it, and it pulls them into some illusory future. How it was, how it will be. People do not know how to live in the moment here and now. You have built a lot of practices on this, mechanisms, knowledge about how to live in the here and now, why the present moment is so important. Your recommendations as a scientist, as a spiritual mentor. We are now being watched by people from different countries of the world, both those who have not yet studied with you at the Personality Development Center and those who are already your students. So how not to worry about tomorrow, how to live in the present day, if there is so much of everything on the planet that you cannot keep up with the process that is taking place. I can say this. Now you only need to think about how much you correspond to everything that you want. If you correspond, if you are internally, for example, many people want wealth. It is great. This is great. But why do so few people have it? Do not correspond. This is probably the main reason that needs to be sorted out. The moment now is a very important and necessary moment for a correct understanding of life, but this is not enough. I observe a lot of different spiritual development processes on the planet, and I can say one more thing. In addition to the moment of now and the feeling of this moment, you also need to have sacred techniques, practices for managing reality. This is what you need to learn. Well, and humanity, the world in which we live, is waiting for very serious changes in a very short period of time. The world will change a lot. Yes, it has already changed, but these changes will be visible every year of life. And for each person, these changes will be different. Everyone will have exactly what they deserve. Therefore, I would like to wish the planet to deserve the most precious and beautiful, and to acquire it in this life, right here, right now.